Yes, I'm gonna tell you the story. It's a true story. My best friend, in spite of a difference of the age, their splendid, loving, and tragic story happened during the Cultural Revolution. But this story started with me. Uh, the 1966, when the Cultural Revolution started, is about May and June, and so they closed down the school. They started this, that time the China, they was not like right now have an internet or something. And so it's a big country, but they're all isolated, each province, each city. And so how the Mao started this revolution, so use the red car and to do it called the big revolutionary series. That means let those red guard to catch on the train to travel around the country to spread the revolution to different cities, different provinces, especially some isolated places. And that time, and every youth, actually students, because the schools closed down, so they all able and encouraged to join the Red Guard. But of course, you had to have a good family background. It's from workers, farmers, and soldiers, and also, of course, CCP officers, and also liberation armies children. So they are immediately qualified for joining the Red Guard. So rest of the people, and they may have a chance, but the most, if you are class enemies children, you're not qualified. You cannot join the movement. But you're still able to traveling around if you can get on the train. So everybody wanted to get on the train and to do this big revolutionary series, they called the lingo that time, they called that. And youngest, I'm a youngest one because it was a junior high, first year of a junior high school. And the elementary school kids are not allowed to travel because they're too young, too small. And so we are the youngest, about 13, 14, and up to and the oldest high school, so 1966 class. So they were about 5 years older than me, so about 18 or something like that. And so I have two brothers. The older brother, and they all older than me. The first one, 5 years older than me. He's at 1966 class. And also he was in the Muslim boarding school in Shanghai. Because my father sent him because in the junior high school is kind of naughty. And so the original school near us kicked him out. So my father think that he needed discipline, because a teenager, you always like to rebelling or something like that. So sent him to that boarding school. So he becoming a more decent kid. So he's a big guy. So his friend, they all big guys. So they are the oldest senior high school graduates. So they get together. Is a bigger, powerful, and an older group. So they can stop the train and get on the train to go to Beijing. So they did. Of course, he not out begged him to take me. He said, no, not the little girl, there's too much trouble. So he didn't want to take me. My second brother is 4 years older than me. He was in the vocational school. They belong to one of a company making semiconductor. And so they forming called some rebelling group, and they also want to go to Beijing. So everybody was all crazy about to go to Beijing because Mao gonna come out of the Tiananmen Square, and it gonna just have a speech and to give this bigger boost for the rally. So everybody, a dream is go to Beijing to see Mao in person. And my second brother, the group, they had to lay down on the train tracks to stop the train. But they stopped the wrong train. The train didn't go to north. They go to south, end up in Canton. So they never get to Beijing, right? So I'm left behind because I don't know what to do. But I wanted to go to Beijing. I also wanted to see Mao in person. So that time I have a best friend as all elementary school kids. So they say that they're going to form in the group. They asked me to join. So I joined them. So we rushed to the train station. That was chaos. All channels called the People's Ocean, People's Mountain. There's just unbelievable chaos in the train station. Some people even, because the crowd, so they've been stepping down and pushed down and stepping to death or something like that. So, but we got there and we had to get on the train. So we fight, finally, and see a train coming. So we say that you can't get to the door, so we had to come to the window. So we saw the one window was open, so we had to, two people down there and carry one up, lift it. When my friend, they carry me up, but I tried to get from the window, but the inside already very crowded. I think those kids from northern China and travel down south. And so they just pushed me out of the window. So, I didn't know. Actually, I broke my arm. The bone was fractured. I didn't know, but just very painful. But I got up. I still want to go. So they said, "Oh, the door is open." So the other older kids down there, they just they try to help him push our inside of the train. So, but the train didn't go too far, and from Shanghai to the city called Hangzhou, just only a very short distance, a few hours. So we had to get out because they stopped. So we got out, and my arm was so pain, and I don't know what to do. And so they say that over there we had to stay in they have this reception area, which was I think the University of Hangzhou, and they open for all the students, revolutionary. So we got there, and they have, interesting enough, at that time, they have a clinic inside of the school. So I'm so thankful. So they sent me there. So they checked me. They said I broken bone, and they put a cast, everything. And then the other kids asked me, say, "You still want to go? And you should go home." I said, "No, I want to go because I accepted want to go to Beijing. I now end up Hangzhou. I still wanted to go to Beijing." I think at that time I was kind of fanatic. The things I wanted to do, and also the entire environment, everybody's go crazy, And so I decided to still going. And but the next day, we stay in the one big, huge room, and the students from everywhere. I think across next to us is a bunch of the bigger group from northern China. They don't like kids from southern China, like Shanghai, especially big city. So they just threw those. They have those people live in the northern China. They all had no water to, wash themselves and wash their clothes. So they all have lice, lots of lice. So they just throw the lice to us. So we scared the hell off, and I couldn't sleep the whole night. And so next day, my friend, our group, most of the girls, they started crying. They said they want to go home. They said that I should go home because I had broken up. And I said, no, I'm not going. And so they said they decided to go. And I had to find another group to join. And then so I can get to Beijing. So I said, fine, I just go around the different room and asking any group were going to go Beijing. And I found a group, they say that they're going to copy Mao's long march. They're going to walk to Beijing. I don't know how many miles from Shanghai to Hangzhou to Beijing is a long way. And but say they wanted to learn Mao's spirit and started this long march walking. So I joined them. So they say, okay, you can join us, but they had to walk because I look at them, they are about 3 or 4 years older than me. Actually, that group is pretty good people. They are from vocational school, and so they accept me. So I call them bigger brothers, sisters. So they say they were taking care of me. So I told my group, I said, you guys go home. I still go in. And I joined that group, so we started to have a meeting. And they say that you walking, so need some money, some cash. They say at least 20 yuan. And I say, I only have 5 yuan. And they said, that's not enough. We're going to stay here for a couple of days, so you can send a telegraph to your family, asking them to give you 15 yuan. So everybody had to have a 20 yuan in order to do something on the road somewhere, no food or whatever, you had to pay. And so that's necessary. So I afraid to tell my parents, because especially I have broken arm. I think my friend, those elementary school friends, will go back to my home and tell my parents, so they will be very worried. They won't ask me back. So the only person I can contact is my second brother. And he was in that semiconductor company. They gave them some money, like 16 yuan a month or something like that. So I think he has some money. Maybe he can help me. So I send that there is a post office. You can send a telegraph. So I send it to my second brother and asking for 15 yuan. And I didn't tell him about my arm. I just say I joined the group that we're going walking to Beijing. And I wanted 15 yuan. And so I can't believe it. And he sent it to me, 20 yuan. And so it seems like he supported me. He said that he was sorry he didn't take me to Beijing. And I begged him for that, but they didn't never been to Beijing. They ended up in Canton, opposite direction. So he said, you're going to send me 20 yuan and let me support me and to go to Beijing. So I got the money, so we started walking. I think after 2 or 3 days, and we all have a bigger breast underfoot. And this group of girls, students, and they all started crying, and they think they're going to quit. So they say they had another meeting. And some boys, they say still go on, but all the girls say they're going to go home. So we end up with another city called Ningbo, which is south to the Hangzhou. So why they walking in opposite direction? They say that if they go to the Ningbo, the small station, maybe can catch the train into Beijing. But the Ningbo, the small city, they don't have a direct train to Beijing. So that's the end of the story. And so they say that that all the girls gonna go home. And so the boys say that, well, fine. They only probably down to 10 boys. They're gonna walk. They think they're able to, and they don't want any girl to join. Too much trouble, they said. So I had to go. So, but those boys very nice. They said that they were helping us to get on a train back to Shanghai. Make sure the train's at Shanghai, so I won't get lost in between. And so they did that. So I went back to Shanghai. So that's my first attempt to the big revolutionary series, and I never get to Beijing. So I had to wait another chance. So I begging my cousin, and they don't want to take me. They are older than me. And then just one day, and then second cousin, and from Beijing, she is about 5 years older than me, and she coming to Shanghai, and then she said that she's gonna go back to Beijing, And she stayed in Shanghai for a while. When the time she going back to Beijing, she can take me. Oh, I was so happy. She said that because she know the group people, they capable to get back to Beijing. So she will join them. So I just joined her. So anyway, and that was December of the 1966. So finally, I followed my second cousin arrived in Beijing. And that I was talking about. I met a guy, and which was my second cousin's brother's best friend from Yunnan province. That's a lot to do with why I fascinated Yunnan, because we were get together every day in Beijing. I think a total about 51 days. And they are very intellectual people. They, of course, much older than my the second cousin, the girls. The brother was about. He's a teacher, high school teacher. He's about 12 years older than me. And his friend, that guy from Yunnan, he's the director of the Yunnan Opera. And so they are the best friends. They're all very intellectual. They can write the poem, and they know all the history of the Beijing and all the Chinese culture. So they taught me a lot. I followed that. Just unbelievable. I learned a lot of things, and also developed the interest for Chinese culture and Chinese history, stuff like that. So started learn how to write the poem. And so after that, 51 days in Beijing, and that the director of the Yunnan Opera, and so he go home and he said, little sister, you have to write it to me, so it will become a pen pal. So I will continue the story, what happened afterwards.